Hi, this is Chris at the Wandering Bull. Today we're going to talk about loom work and do a brief demonstration on actually getting it started. The first row of applying the beads to the loom is the most difficult part because it moves the threads around a little bit and you get your spacing. After that first initial row, it goes much easier. So I have some examples here in front of me. This bag here is done on a loom, and instead of using the cotton thread for this, I use brain tan leather. Did the beadwork the same application as this, but my loom was much wider to accommodate that 6-inch panel. The strap was also done on the loom, and you can see where instead of using the cotton threads, I use that brain tan lace, and the same process, I just use different materials. These other examples here in front of me, loom work as well. This guy here, the design tapered down to 2 points, and then those points were edge beaded on both of those. This was the side drop to a fancy dance outfit from 1970s. These leg garters, Great Lakes, also done on a loom, and the warp threads at the end were woven in and braided with the yarn. And these are leg garters, so the yarn is basically tied around your calf to hold the garter in place. Here's another fancy dance harness set done on a loom as well. And this end was just taped, never finished to these guys. So I have strung my loom, and I'm going to work on this Vietnam pattern for a friend of mine, and it's 13 beads wide. I'm using 10-0 seed beads and a 10-0 beading needle. I strung the loom with the button and carpet thread. We also refer to that as a loom warp thread. And on the pattern, the first 2 rows are a solid green. So I'm going to start by putting on 13 solid green beads. I'm going to put the needle underneath the thread that is strung on the loom. I'm going to push those guys up, and theoretically, I'm going to start with the first few beads. And as you can see, the spacing, it's messy at this point in time, but I want to get all those beads in their place. There we go. That was relatively easy. So make sure it's straight, square to your loom, move it around if need be. And if you want to give it a little tug on the thread with the needle that you're applying the beads with, to keep that work tight, those beads tight in place. I'm going to do one more row of solid green. So I got another 13 beads in place. And back again, once again, back underneath the warp threads. Going to push my needle through the first couple of beads. You want to make sure your needle stays on top of the threads as the other thread was underneath. Basically, it will sandwich the beads. Once again, give them a little tug. So on my pattern, I have 2 green rows to start. Then next in pattern, I'm starting the tip of the feather. So that's the center of the pattern. And so I would be 6 green on each side and 1 black bead in the center. So I'm going to go underneath my work, pull my beads tight right up to the loom, push those beads up. I'm right-handed, so I use the needle in my right hand, and with my left hand, I push those beads up between the threads. So there's my 3rd row. So the 4th row is basically, I have 1 bead in the center, so now I need 3 black beads. So I'll be 5 green beads, 3 black beads, and then another 5 green beads. So I basically put 6 green beads on. Just slide that right off the thread. So there's my 4th row. So now I have 4 rows of beads on. My background is going to change the color of the background. Instead of being green, it's going to be yellow. So I'm going to be 4 yellow beads. I'll be 5 black. And then 4 yellow on the opposite side. So now I'm 3 yellow, 5 black, and then 3 yellow. And you'll see how that feather is shaping up at the tip. I'm going to do 2 more rows. So next I'll be 2 yellows and 7 black. That'll be 9 black. 3. This is as wide as I'm going to make the feather. So I will no longer be decreasing the background color, and the feather is going to stay that 9 beads wide for the length of the feather. So I'll be 2 yellow and 9 black. So that's the black tip of the feather. You can see in the pattern. So now the feather decreases on the inside, so I'm going to be adding that yellow bead. So we'll do this next row so you can see how I'm decreasing the black. So I'm going to be 2 for the background, 2 yellows, 1 black to be the outline of the feather. Then I'm introducing 1 yellow for the background of the feather. And then that will be 5 black beads in the center. And when purchasing beads, you want to make sure that your background color, you buy the majority of them, a larger amount for the background color, as you'll be using more of those. And then the detail within your pattern will certainly require less beads. So plan according. The dye lots change. The beads come to us from Czechoslovakia, and the dye lots change from year to year. So plan according. Lots of times they will be the same color, but you would hate to have to match up a bead that is no longer available. So I am at the point where now I'm going to add the red stripes in that Vietnam pattern. And so I'm replacing the yellow with the red, so it'll be the same bead count. So instead of the 2 yellow, I'll be starting with the red. So I like to have my beads in a little cover to a coffee can, so I can move it around. It's movable. They're not going to fall off. If you do it like on a napkin, paper towel on the table, you can't lift it up and move it. And sometimes you just need to put it on an angle to get that bead to pop right onto the needle. Do your pattern. If you want to center, you need to have an odd number of beads. I like to do it on graph paper. And I use colored pencils at this point, so I get my colors correct. I want my design symmetrical from left to right and end to end as well. So this would continue on. It would be about 6 inches long. So it depends on your project. Will depend on the width and the length. We sell beads, thread, needles, wax. So if you're using 10-0 beads, you want 10-0 needles and the thread to accommodate that needle eye. I've strung the loom with the button and carpet thread. We have it in white, cream, and black. So thanks for watching. WanderingBull.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions, you can certainly give us a call at 1-800-430-2855. Thanks for watching.